The movie is set in the advanced future, where we see Catherine Mills, a cyborg working for the Harbinger Corporation. While she is working at the factory, she receives a message containing footage of a robot unit called SAR, short for Study, Analyze, Reprogram, that has an anomaly in the Harbinger 1 training facility, which is a covert military training island. She instantly reports the 1.5 million reprogram count to her boss, who asks her to fix the issue. In the next scene, we see Captain Damien Buquez at the military base, where one of his men, Drifter, informs him about an order to join a 2-day training exercise. Since his men have already undergone this training about 4 times, Bukes gets upset, especially when he notices Catherine sitting nearby. The officer in charge tells him that it is only for 2 days and is designed to highlight Marines and their combat time. Begrudgingly, Bukes accepts, and just as he is about to head out, the officer tells him that they have been assigned Catherine as a tech from Harbinger Corporation. Catherine follows him and introduces herself, after which she explains that she is there to observe the hardware of the field they will be training in. Bukes asks her to observe the men too, but she insists that her company is a vendor for the military, so she cannot be responsible for the soldiers. Already annoyed, Bukes asks her to hurry along if she doesn't want to be left behind and to turn off her eye scanner as it irritates him, but she tells him it does not have a switch. Once they board the plane, Catherine meets Bukes' team, consisting of Drifter, Goodwin, Cutbill, Robinson, Loftus, and Hackett, and the plane departs for Harbinger 1. During the flight, Catherine scans everyone as per her norm. When Robinson, who has tech implants in his eyes, notices that she is scanning him, he points his rifle at her. Catherine leans in a little and instantly disarms the weapon. As it happens, she can control any machine, even from afar. As the plane nears Harbinger 1, Bukes gives his men the basic instructions and reminds them that they will be monitored as the ammo is live. Catherine notices she can no longer access the global network, so she has no other choice but to switch to the local one. Before they land, Robinson tells Bukes that Catherine has the same tools in her eyes as him, but Bukes reminds him that she is way advanced, as his are not connected to his brain. In the next scene, they land in an old facility where the computer system recognizes Bukes after scanning him and welcomes him inside. Bukes notices the vacant facility, and the soldiers wonder who will be monitoring them since the field is empty too. As the plane flies away, Catherine asks Bukes if they have any ground support, but he responds in negative. She tries to make small talk since they got off on the wrong foot, but Bukes cuts her off. The men enter the facility and make their way to a forest. Bukes orders Cutbill to set up his drone to locate the targets and asks the men not to let their guard down as they begin their mission of eliminating AI threats. As Catherine follows them, she notices a drone in the woods, which is unidentifiable by her system. Moving on, the men follow their drone that has locked in on the target's location, and before they take positions, Drifter asks Catherine for her help with his boss. Just then, they are interrupted by 3 surveillance drones. Before Drifter can aim at them, Catherine stops him while she analyzes them. Other soldiers also reported that they found these flying drones. Catherine explains that her boss has created these new drones that he calls his toys. As they have been quantum modified, they have no operators. Bukes asks them to keep going, and when they have their practice target in sight, he makes a plan of attack and the men take their assigned positions. Using bullets, explosives, and rockets, the team attacks and takes out the target. The strange drones fly near the soldiers and record their tactics, so Catherine decides to follow one of them deep into the forest. There, she comes across an SAR unit and is shocked to see blood on its head. Despite trying, she is unable to access it. However, she manages to download some of SAR's footage, which shows images of SAR shooting people up close. As soon as Catherine opens her eyes, the robot is nowhere to be seen. Just then, Bukes signals the team to set camp since they have completed the day's mission. Later that night, while they all share war stories by the campfire, Catherine sits alone by herself. Drifter keeps glancing at her, so the others tease him, reminding him that she is not even a human. They also discuss how their targets today were so rudimentary and easy to destroy. While Catherine analyzes the footage she downloaded from SAR, Drifter walks up to her and asks where she disappeared earlier in the day. She responds that she was checking something, and then they talk about Bukes' disdain for her. Drifter asks how she became a cyborg, so she tells him about being paralyzed when she was 11. Harbinger sponsored her treatment and the entire procedure. When Drifter walks back to his team, he catches Bukes looking at Catherine. He asks Drifter if Catherine has access to the global network yet, but Drifter tells him no, just like the rest of them. Regardless, Bukes still has his reservations about Catherine and the exercise. Later that night, everyone prepares to sleep while Loftus keeps watch. Before going to sleep, Catherine notices some drones in the woods nearby. And when she sleeps, she keeps watching the strange footage from SAR. As the night goes by, Loftus comes across one of the strange drones, and he tells it to leave. It does so, but shortly after he hears a noise nearby and is shocked to see SAR coming his way, so he opens fire at it. Back at the camp, Catherine wakes up to the men heading out to investigate the unexpected gunshots. Goodwin swears that he saw Loftus and suddenly he disappeared, so they start looking for him. The next morning, they come across some blood on the grass. A few steps further, they find Loftus's body leaning against a tree. Cutbill freaks out seeing his friend dead and asks to leave, but Bukes instructs him to shut up and orders the men into a defensive position. Catherine suddenly realizes this is the exact place where their target was yesterday, and a drone flies over to observe them. Within seconds, it flies away, followed by Hackett being shot and killed. The soldiers take cover behind trees while robots shoot at them from the vantage point the men were positioned at the day before. Bukes notices this and uses smoke grenades so the unit can get closer to the robots. Bukes gets close enough to the robots, but they retreat when they see him. On the other hand, Cutbill, who got separated from the unit when the robots attacked, runs into some drones. While he tries to make contact with his team, suddenly the drones fly away, and moments later, SAR captures Cutbill, after which another drone shoots him fatally. Bukes tells Drifter that these robots are more advanced than yesterday's, and it seems like they are observing and learning from them. He asks Catherine to disable them, but she tells them that she is unable to do so because of a programming error. Bukes loses his cool, but Drifter steps in to defend Catherine, saying that she is not the programmer herself. Just then, Robinson returns from his search for Cutbill and shows the men Cutbill's blood-stained helmet, so they venture out to look for him. Drifter tries to convince Bukes that Catherine is important, as they can use all the help they can get, especially since she can scan the robots and drones from afar, unlike them. Bukes thinks otherwise and mentions how those robots had him in view and still did not attack, which must be due to the presence of Catherine with them. Just then, Catherine notices a large number of dead animals on the forest floor, implying that the robots have been killing them as target practice. Suddenly, Catherine announces that they are all being tracked, and more robots show up. They open fire at the men, so Bukes orders them to run to safety. In a moment, Bukes saves Catherine from being hit and drags her down. This causes them to roll away, and Catherine ends up getting hit by a tree and passing out. Drifter tries to make contact with Bukes and Catherine, who have been separated from the team, but to no avail. Later, Bukes manages to bring an unconscious Catherine to the facility, and he establishes contact with Drifter, telling him his whereabouts. When Drifter proposes a regroup at the facility, Bukes orders him not to, since the robots could easily find and attack them in the dark. A few hours go by, and Bukes wakes up to the sound of a drone. As the drone flies away, Bukes quickly grabs Catherine and hides behind a wall before SEI shows up. It leans in and has Catherine opens her eyes to connect with her, after which the robot leaves. The next morning, Catherine finally wakes up and is surprised to see that Bukes did not abandon her to die. She tells Bukes that they need to find the SAR unit, but when Bukes asks her why, she is unable to explain it. They reunite with the remaining 3 soldiers, and Drifter tells Bukes that they could have been tracked easily in the night since the robots and drones were everywhere. They decide to head back to the drop site to wait for their plane, but when they try to exit the training area, the computer fails to recognize Bukes and hence does not unlock the door. Catherine tries to hack the door, but to no avail. Just then, the robots attack them with smoke grenades followed by firing. Drifter gets shot in the leg, and when he sees Catherine has opened the door, he stays back to fight while covering Robinson and Goodwin, who run toward the door. In doing so, Drifter gets shot again and the SAR pins him down. Seeing this, Bukes tries to save him, but his bullets do not affect SAR. Catherine runs toward them and the robots stop shooting when they see her. Catherine tries to disable SAR, but to no avail, so Bukes shoots Drifter fatally before SAR can torture him by cutting him open. Catherine cries out in despair while Bukes brings her back to the facility, where she yells at him for not letting her save Drifter, since she was the one who designed these robots. This makes the Marines angry, and Robinson points a gun at her. Catherine explains that she does not know who requested the Marines here, who usually come here themselves for training. She is the one who designed the prototypes, but somehow the warfare AI has advanced beyond her understanding, which is why she wants to observe SAR, in the hope of understanding and controlling them. When asked what they are, she tells the Marines that those robots are meant to replace human soldiers, so no lives are lost in future combat. These robots are designed to learn and improve themselves just like humans. This makes the men angry, and Bukes blames Catherine for the deaths of his teammates. Shortly after, the robots outside start cutting through the entry door, so Catherine opens the personnel area, where they see several SAR units. Bukes instructs Catherine not to turn them on, and instead open another door nearby. When they enter the barrier complex, they are shocked to see the dead bodies of all the employees. Catherine tries to connect with the outside world using a screen, but it does not work. Bukes announces that they are in a bottleneck, so they might have an edge over the robots. While they are setting up their weapons, Catherine walks out of the room and locks the door behind her so she can't be followed. She activates one of the SAR units, fully aware that they are all connected, and activates its speech program to answer her questions. It tells her that they have been ordered to run the human combat program, and despite trying, Catherine is unable to cancel the program. Since the AI got bored with the usual target subjects, the Guardian SAR unit reprogrammed all the SAR units to use lethal force to improve soldier motivation. This is where Catherine realizes that it must have been the leader SAR that ordered the Marines on Harbinger 1 on its own. Just then, the robots outside the facility break through the door and surround Catherine. Robinson opens the other door and Bukes drags Catherine inside just before the door closes. The robots cut through it, but just as they enter the bottleneck room, Bukes sets off the bomb he has placed there. This is where Catherine realizes that the robots carry EMP grenades. The Marines and Catherine make it outside, where they see abandoned cars and training equipment along with dead soldiers. Catherine steals an EMP grenade from a destroyed robot, while the men plant explosives for a siege. Catherine tears up when she views the footage of the final moments of her dead teammates, which motivates her to use the EMP grenade, despite knowing that EMP could kill her or wipe her memory clean. While they wait, Bukes discovers the grenade, and Catherine asks him for a detonator so they can use the grenade to target the leader SAR, which would deactivate the rest too. Catherine further explains that the reason they are still alive is because the robots wanted them here for better practice. The next morning, the drones attack the facility. Through Catherine's system, the men are able to take out as many robots and drones, but eventually, Robinson dies in gunfire, and Bukes brings an injured Goodwin to a safe spot. Since Goodwin accidentally drops the detonator on the way, Bukes steps out to grab it under heavy gunfire. Catherine beats him to it and waits for the robots to come closer. The SAR orders one of the smaller robots to hit Catherine, and when she is shot, Bukes grabs her before she hits the floor. Just then, the robots are close enough, and Catherine detonates the bomb, destroying the robots but not without incapacitating herself. When the SAR unit still charges at them, Bukes drags Catherine to safety and fights SAR, while Catherine uses her control to use Robinson's sniper rifle inside the building to destroy SAR. In its final moments, the robot connects to her again and downloads its data into her before it shuts down, and Catherine loses consciousness. In the end, a military aircraft comes to rescue Bukes, Goodwin, and Catherine. While the soldiers head toward the plane, Catherine suddenly opens her eyes and we realize that the SAR mission protocol has taken over her. With that, the movie ends. Thanks for watching Kill Command. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Welcome, sci-fi fans. Futurist Flicks is thrilled to launch our exclusive membership program, designed for loyal fans like you. By joining, you'll unlock early access to recap videos, unseen recap videos, raffle prizes, free merch giveaways, exclusive content and behind-the-scenes insights, access to community events, live streams, and Q&A sessions. Join the Cosmic Crew today and get instant access to exclusive perks. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more intergalactic adventures.